So, hello everyone. I am Ashraf ASML, the reporter of Module 5 entitled Verb. So, introduction. So, this presentation is about verbs as one of the parts of speech. So, we all know that um, they have a lot of parts of speech. So this will introduce the forms of verbs and voices of verbs. The topics are comprehensively discussed by putting several examples so that the students could understand it very well. So for me, it is an interesting topic because we can learn or we can gather idea on how using the verbs words. So next. So the objectives, at the end of this presentation, the students are expected to have an idea about verb and its form and define the voices of verbs. So I will change the location of my camera because so we have a quote here from Joseph Beach. A garden without its statue is like a sentence without a verb. So we will see if this sentence is a true or not. So next slide. So what is verb? Verb is an action words that tell us what we are doing. Verb is a word used to describe an action, state of occurrence, and forming the main parts of the predicate of a sentence. So the verb, so we all know that the verbs is an action words. So um, it may be it's describing our actions, there's the state of occurrence, and so on. So the verb may tell us what a person or thing does. It means what a person or thing does. For example, is that Pedro works hard. So Pedro works hard. And the other example is the clock strikes. And what is done to a person or thing? So, for example, um, the window is broken, like that. And the third is what a person or thing is. So in this, the example of that is mm, the dog is dead. So the verb in that is the dead. Actually, it's an adverb, I think. So lectures and discussion. So we have 10 examples. So I will discuss it in next slides. So the example one is we are reading our books. Number two, where do you live? Number three, they have finished their homework. So the are, do, and have and sentences 1, 2, 3 are called primary auxiliaries. They are used to help the main verb. So the primary auxiliaries are be, do, and have. The words be can be written as am, is, are, was, were. After be auxiliaries, two forms of a verb are possible. So I apologize for my, the people here in our house is noisy, so I apologize about that. So back to the topic, though. So the primary auxiliaries are be, do, and have. So the be can be written as is, are, was, were. So after be, auxiliaries, two forms of a verb are possible. So after we see, we will know the sentence if primary auxiliaries if the be, the after the be, how do I say this? So after the be, after we putting the be in a sentence, there are verb. There are two verb possible in the next word. So like for this example number one, we are reading our books. So the are presented by, the R is the B. So the reading is the verb. So that's uh, yun. After the auxiliaries, two forms of verb are possible. So number two, where do you live? So the used primary auxiliaries in the number two is do, and they have finished their homework. Have is the auxiliaries, the primary auxiliaries. So I hope you understand the primary auxiliaries. How do you use this? Like so the number 4, 5, 6. The students do their homework. So number 5, I have a dog and two cats. And number 6, her father is an lawyer. So the do, have, and is in sentences 4, 5, and 6 are we call main verbs. So the main verbs is also called the lexical verb or the principal verb. This term refers to the important verb in the sentence. So the main verbs are the important verb in the sentence, the one that typically shows the action or state of being of the subject. Main verbs can stand alone or they can be used with a helping verb, also an auxiliary verb. So the main verb can also help. I mean, the auxiliary verb can help the main verb to make the sentence correct. I mean, perfect. Like that. A main verb will usually come right after the subject. So in the um, in this in the main verbs, the sentence will be um, before we see the be, do, have, we will first see the subject. For example, the number 4, the students do their homework. So the subject here is the students and do in the main verb. So a main verb will usually come right after the subject. So the number 5, I have a dog and two cats, and the subject is I, and the have is the main verb. So same as the number 6, her father is a lawyer. The father is the subject, and is the auxiliary verb, or I mean the main verb. So is the be, because be can be written as is. So number 7 and number 8, my cousin can sing, and the number 8, we will go home early. So the can and will in sentences 7 and 8 are modal auxiliaries or modals. They are used with the main verbs sing and go, etc. and etc. They usually tell something about the opinion or feelings of speaker, writer, and the other modals are could, would, must, may, might, shall, should, ought to. So and modal auxiliaries, we will use the 8 word, which is that the modals. We will use the modals to um, I mean, yeah, they usually tell something about the opinion or feeling of speaker. So for example, here in number 7, my cousin can sing. So uh, we use the can. Yeah. For other example is I wish I could sing. So we use the could and the sing because the modals or the modal auxiliaries, they are used with the main verbs. So the main verbs there is the sing, and the modals are can in the number 7, in the example of number 7. So the example number 8, we will go home early. So the will is the modal and go is the um, main verb. Yeah. So in short, the modal auxiliaries, in writing a modal auxiliaries sentence, is the first we will write is the modal before the main verb. Yeah. So that requires and illustrates are the main verbs. Other examples are dance, write, believe, and etc. So the form of verbs. So we have two types of form of verb, which is the finite verbs and the non-finite verbs. So as I research, the finite verb forms is that it can change their forms where there is a change in the number of person of the subject, and it is also have different forms and different tenses. And the non-finite verbs is uh, the non-finite verbs do not change the form when the number or person if of the subject changes. So in the finite form, in the finite verb forms, we have three types, which is the base form and infinitive, the present, the third person singular in the past. So also in the non-finite verb forms, we have also three example, which is three types, which is the past participle, the ing form, and the to infinitive. So we will discuss first the finite verb forms. So in the finite verb forms, in the part of base form and infinitive, for example, the work, the it will be go to the work can be works in the present or the third person singular, and the past word of past tense, yeah, is will be worked. We add ed. In the present, we add s in the for example, the base is work. So if we gonna change it into present, it will be added an s, so it will be works. And if that present or the third person singular can be will be past, for example, um right now I works I works hard. I works so hard. I think I don't know if that correct, but um I mean the present third singular first. So we will back to the first base form and infinitive. For example, is work. It will be works in the present third person singular, and it will be worked in the past, which the works, the s changed in ed, it will be worked. Example number two is no. And for example, for the example number two in base is no, and it will be knows and present, and it will be new, 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 new in the past tense. So in the non-finite verbs, we have three types: past participle, and inform, and to infinitive. So the first, the example, I mean, for example, is worked. So the past participle, the past participle example is worked. So in the inform, the ed will be changed in the ing. So it will be working, like I am working. Yeah. And in that working, it will be to work, to infinitive. To infinitive. Yeah. So I hope you understand this part, because it will be important in writing something like essay to make our grammar correct. Thank you. I'm not finished yet. Oh my god. So for other forms, use primary auxiliaries. So the do plus base. So the base is the first type of finite verb forms. So we use the to plus base. So they have there are example here. I do not know her. So the do is the given, and the base is no. Yeah, we see in the last slide, which here no is the base. So have plus past participle. They have come to see us. So the come is the past participle. And be plus ing verb, she is singing. So the is be, and the singing is the ing form, which is they have ing. Then be plus past participle, we have example here. She was satisfied. So the was is the be, and the satisfied is the past participle, which is the there are ed in the last word of the satisfied. Then modals plus has form infinitive. So she has to see me. So has is the modals, and to see is the base form infinitive. So that's all. That's the examples. That are the examples of two two types of form of verbs, which is the finite verb forms and the non-finite verb forms. So we have person. So we have three types of person: the first person, second person, and the third person. So in the first person is, for example, I and we. I is the singular and we is plural. For example, I am good at dancing. So the first person in that sentence is I. And for example, in the we are good students. We are a good students. So the we is the first person. Yeah. And in that oh yeah. Wait. The second type of person is the second person. Huh? So, in this second person is you, singular and plural. So, the you can be singular and you can be plural. So, for example, in the second person is, for example, I am good at you. I mean, I am kind at you. So, the I is the first person, in you is the second person. So, it can be singular and plural. So, the third person is, we have in the singular, he, she, it, the girl, and etc. And the plural, they, the girls, the big tables, and etc. So, for example, is um, the girl, I mean, the boy is good at, the teacher the teacher is good at his students. I mean, it is correct. The teacher, wait, I'm so empty. Wait. Example. Um, okay, we will go to the easy example. So, first, the example in third person for singular is, he is so good at singing. So the he is the third. I know it is the first. I mean, he is the. Um, I'm so sorry. Wait. For example, in the third person is, yeah, it's correct. He is good at singing. So the he is the singular in the third person. And they have so many lights. So they is the plural of third person. So that is the example. So we have tenses: the present tense, past tense, and future tense. The section of a verb in the present tense, past tense, and future tense can be simple, progressive, or continuous, and perfect. So we have examples in the next slides. So here, in the simple, for example, the present is she works. So the works is the base in the finite verb form. So she works, and the past is she worked. It is obvious because it is a past tense word which is added in ed. So the progressive, she is working. So she is working. The working is from the ing form in non-finite verb form. And in the past, um, in the past tense of progressive is she was working. So it changes the be, because be can be written as is or was. So the is um, become was. It is the past tense of is. So the perfect simple example. The example of perfect simple. She has worked. So the the work is past tense, but in the past tense of has is had. So the past tense of she was worked is she had worked. So the last is the perfect progressive. So or perfect continuous. So the present example is she has been working. So the working is the continuous, and the has have past tense which is had. So she has been working became in the past tense of, in the past tense become she had been working. Next slide. Forms of the be. So the be have four forms, which is the affirmative, negative, interrogative, and complements. So the first form of be is affirmative. So here in affirmative, the singular first, the singular first form is I. So the present of I is and the past tense of is was. So singular third person, he, she, it, John is the examples. And the present of it is, and the present of okay, restart. So the first form of affirmative is huh? I'm so sorry. Um, the first form of be is affirmative, and singular. The first person is I, and the third person is she, he, it, and the name. So the and the man, etc. So in the present, and the past was, is, and the past was, and present is, and the past was. So the singular plural, you. So you can be singular and plural. So the present of you is are, and the past is were. And the plural, we, they, the men, and etc. The present are, the past were. So in this affirmative, the present and past, they have no different in singular and plural, present and past. Present and past. They have no difference. So then the second form of P is the negative. So in this negative, singular, you have singular, singular plural, and plural. The singular is I am not. In the past tense, I was not. So the am changed into was. And he is not. And the past tense is he was not. So the is changed into was. So in the singular plural, you are not. So then the are will be changed into were. So the past tense of you are not is you were not. So the plural is we are not, and the past tense we were not. Yeah. Next. Wait. The negative, in the negative, um, the B, um, the B is, in the negative, the word, in the present word, for example, the present word have B, so B can be written like that. So they have many B. So the B is um, become the B in the sentence will become um, will become past tense and then negative. So interrogative. So in the singular, am I, and the past is was I. Same as negative, the be change. The be change. But in the integrative, mauuna yung be bago yung subject. Like that. Or the singular or plural. The be is the first we will write, and the say followed by the singular or the plural. So, for example, here is the present am I. So, the am is the be and the I is the singular. So, in the past tense, was I. In the singular plural, are you. So, the are is the be and the you is the um, singular or plural. In the past tense, were you. So the be change and where. I mean the are. So in the plural, we are not. So the we is the plural and the are is the be. So it changed into in the past is we were not. And the last form of be is complements. When used as main verb, be is followed by other kinds of complements. So here in complements, for example, I am handsome. So the handsome is the complement and am is the be. So like that. I hope you understand that one. And the last, so do not forget, the word be can be written as is, are, was, were. So that's all. I hope you understand. I hope you learn something in my report. So the report will be continued by Jamil. So that's all. Thank you for listening. Bye.